If you are serious about reducing your screen time, this video will help. If you're not serious, click away and keep wasting your life. And that's not an exaggeration. 3 to 4 hours a day of phone usage adds up to 1,440 hours a year. That's 2 full months gone. And even then, a lot of you might spend more time on your phone than this. I used to waste time like that too, until I realized what I was trading it for. But when I shifted my perspective, I built a system that let me manage my life as a doctor, run this channel, and still have time for the things I care about in my personal life. So if you want to take back control like I did, this video has all the practical advice you'll ever need. But before I give you any practical advice, there's one thing you need to understand. No tip or trick will work unless you become deeply aware of why this even matters. Because without that awareness, you'll never feel the urgency to change, and you'll just keep scrolling like always. So to help you gain this awareness, I want you to do a few things. First, check your screen time right now. Now take that number and multiply it by 15.2. This is approximately how many full days per year you're spending on your phone. Now think about this. What could you do with all of that time? Learn a skill or hobby, go to the gym, spend time with friends. This isn't just free time. This is enough time for a transformation. Enough time to change your life completely. But that's what most people don't realize until it's too late. They don't realize that this screen time is taking away from a version of you that could have existed. One where you're smarter, stronger, and more fulfilled. But if you keep choosing TikTok and short form content for that stimulation, that better version will never exist. It might sound harsh, but it's the truth. You're not just wasting time on content that you'll forget a few minutes later, you're trading your potential for a quick distraction. So as you watch this video, and especially after it ends, remember this. Every hour you give to your phone is a vote for staying the same, and every hour you reclaim is a vote for who you could become. So now we can move on to the more practical advice. And the first is something that will massively drop your screen time from day one. And for this, start by thinking about how often you use your phone, because a lot of the time, it's not a conscious decision, it's automatic. You see your phone next to you and you want to quickly check something, but the next thing you know, it's been half an hour and you're still on your phone. It's a lot like sleepwalking because you don't realize it happened until it's over. So it's hard to break out of it whilst it's happening, whilst you're on your phone. So you need to prevent this from happening in the first place, and there's a few very simple ways to add friction to do this. The first is to make your screen time impossible to ignore. Have a screen time widget on your home screen so you see it every time you unlock your phone. This avoids having your screen time from being hidden away in a menu where you'll never think about it. And to take it a step further, make it into more of a game. At the end of each day, check your screen time and aim to reduce it by 10 to 20% for the next day. Because this is a gradual change, it's easier for you to manage, but it adds up to weeks of time saved over the year. What also helps is turning off any feature that makes it easy to switch your phone on, like tap or lift to wake, so that your screen doesn't light up every time you move. Because I'm sure if you really think about it, you probably unlock your phone a lot of times because of situations like this. And those moments end up adding minutes to even an hour a day. And another simple thing that's cut down my screen time a lot in the past is logging out of apps I use the most. If you do this, the next time you tap on them out of habit, you're hit with the login screen. And that pause reminds you that you don't need to be there right now. These small changes are about interrupting patterns so that you can start breaking out of it. Now, all the small tips I've mentioned so far do work, but small changes only last if you stay consistent. And I can't force you to do that. Even I don't always use my phone on grayscale. I don't always have my apps logged out. Even though these are helpful tools to get through the initial resistance of reducing screen time, there are more useful methods. And for long-term changes, what helps even more is having a system. Because willpower doesn't work forever, but systems do. And again, there's a few steps to this. The first makes an immediate difference in your screen time, and that's batching your phone use. Before you pick up your phone, make a physical note of what you will be using your phone for, whether that's replying to friends, checking Google, or adding something to your calendar. When you then go on your phone, mark the time you start and go through that list. Once you're done with the list, write how long it took and put your phone away. If it took you 30 minutes to go through 6 things on that list, then you now know that you can batch 3 tasks into 15-minute blocks next time. And this can be batched after you get some studying or work done. For example, I'd write down that I'd reply to friends and emails, and this might normally take 15 to 30 minutes. So I know that after I finish doing a task like scripting a video, then I'll use this time after to go through that list for 15 minutes before moving on to my next task of the day, like practicing the piano. It's very simple, but that's the point. Simple things are easier to stick to, and it gives you a clear reminder of what you're using your phone for and when you'll be able to use it. The next part of the system would be creating no phone zones. Places or times where checking your phone isn't an option. This will look different for everyone, but for me, this is not using my phone when I'm in bed at night getting ready to sleep, or not using my phone when I'm practicing the piano or doing any work. Now, this is obviously dependent on you actually keeping your phone away in these places, but if you're at this point in this video, then I'm hoping that you are actually serious about this and follow the advice. Because these are simple rules that if you stick to, actually do just work. And now I want to talk about one of the biggest reasons you can't focus. It's not because you're lazy or because you're unmotivated. It's because your brain has been conditioned to expect constant novelty. Every TikTok, every reel, every YouTube short gives you a tiny dopamine hit. It feels good, it's easy, and there's no effort required. And the more you scroll, the more your brain gets used to that speed. So that when you try to sit down and do something meaningful, even just sitting down to think, it all feels boring in comparison. I know how this feels because I've been there. In my undergrad degree, I'd be midway through studying, and without even realizing, I'd open Instagram and go through reels. Not because I needed to, but because my brain was craving an easy reward, something that gave into the instant gratification and avoided the deep work. But what helped was doing an audit on myself. This was asking myself, what gives me this dopamine-like hit with no effort, and what used to feel fun but now feels dull or draining. Once you become aware of it, you need to do a detox. Take 2 to 3 days without short form content, no TikToks, no reels, no shorts, and everything else that gives that low effort hit. Replace them with longer, slower content like podcasts, books or audiobooks, or even longer YouTube videos. Let your brain relearn how to enjoy things at a normal pace, not at the unnatural rate we've gotten used to with all of these algorithms. I do want to say that this isn't about cutting fun out of your life. It's about making sure that you aren't robbed of the discipline and identity that you're trying to build. Because if you want to think clearly and focus deeply, you need to stop flooding your brain with junk content. Now for a quick update, I'm working on building an online course and community and would highly appreciate your feedback and input. So check out the links in the description. It would help me out a lot if you would provide some feedback in terms of what you find helpful from my videos and what you feel would help even more as part of a course or community. Thank you in advance, and now back to the video. And now, all of these points so far relate to you doing something else in exchange for screen time, whether that's making changes to how you use your phone or implementing some form of system to help you keep off of it when you don't need to be using it. But one thing you need to be aware of is that you don't just need less screen time. If you're serious both about reducing screen time and also about improving your ability to focus on what's important, you need to retrain your brain to be okay with boredom. You need to stop being scared of silence, to stop avoiding stillness and avoid that crave for stimulation. And what helps with this is doing nothing for 20 minutes. No phone, no music, just sitting there. If this is too much for you to start with, then maybe go for a walk without your phone instead, or eat a meal without watching anything or doing something else. Just let your brain recover its ability to be quiet, because in that silence your brain will regain the ability to maintain focus without difficulty again. That silence is going to stop your mind from being flooded by random or distracting thoughts, so that you can focus on the thoughts that do matter. So if you try the advice I've given, then I'm confident that you'll be able to significantly drop your screen time. And again, I can't force you to do any of this. It's up to you how much you really care about your time to put the work into applying the advice and committing to it. But now a problem is that even if you cut your screen time and spend your time on more meaningful things, you might find it difficult to get into deep focus, making it so that you don't utilize this newly gained time effectively. I've been able to get into deep focus throughout med school, and it made it possible for me to do well in my academics, run this channel, and still have a personal life. And in this video here, I talk about exactly how you can get into and utilize deep focus as effectively as possible so that you can do this too. So click the video to learn more.